Hi, my name is Kelly Martin. I'm a traditionally and independently published author of more than 30 books, and welcome to my channel. There's not really a vlog update this week because I guess technically Monday's video was a vlog where we went to Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. It's an abandoned tuberculosis hospital, and it was an amazing trip. We loved it. I have my shirt. It's got the hospital on the back. But I wanted to do a really informal video today since I've been editing the How to Write Horror series that will be coming out starting Monday. But I wanted to tell you all about the trip to Waverly Hills. Now, this is going to be a very informal video. I'm really hoping not to have to edit it. We'll see how that goes. But I kind of wanted to tell you what happened and, things like that. Okay, so Waverly Hills is about 3 hours from my house. So it was, if you watch the video of our little vlog adventure, it was me, my oldest daughter, Katie, my sisters, Kathy and Karen. And we went to eat first, and then we trekked up to Waverly Hills. If you saw the video, we ate the Cracker Barrel. It was wonderful. Let me cover this up. That's what I always try to cover, and it never works. And if you ever want to know, this is a screen door. It's just here. I could scoot you up a little bit, but then you wouldn't see the shirt. And that, I know that's what you're looking. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, anyway. So we drove the 3 hours up there. And when you get to, you have to buy the tickets online beforehand before you get there. It's $25 a ticket if you want to do the 2-hour guided tour. It was, I had to buy them in June, the end of June, and it's already booked up. Like it books up really fast because a lot of people want to go to Waverly Hills. So you get there and there's no signs to say where it is. You go up, there's a golf course, and you go up the golf course road, and then you keep left, and then you go up, and it's like a movie when you're going through this forest, and it kind of rises up on your left, and it's the coolest thing. And people ask me about it, and I'll say that it's pretty, and they kind of give me this strange look, but it really is pretty. I think it's gorgeous. Like the architecture, it's I think they said it was Gothic architecture with, if you saw the pictures, you saw the top of it with the gargoyles, and they had one of the gargoyles down so you can see it and get a really good picture of it. So that was really cool. They showed us where to park. We parked, we got out, we took a lot of pictures. And if you look at the pictures, it looks like that all the windows on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th floor have been taken out, and they're not. They're actually walkways. That was the places that they would pull the beds out so people could get fresh air, and that was what they did if you had tuberculosis. Like the tour guide said that the doctor would write how many hours they wanted them out in the fresh air for their treatment. So we met up with our group, and they took us to the old laundry house. And the old laundry house is where you sign a waiver saying you want a video inside. And you couldn't anyway, because I didn't post a lot of my pictures because it's so dark you can't really see it, and I need to run them through some Photoshop so I can see if I caught anything. I have not done that yet. It's been a busy week. And so you sign this waiver and you sign that you acknowledge you're going in a haunted building. You don't hold the Waverly Hills Historical Society responsible if you get attacked. Basically is what it is. And there's a gift shop where you can buy shirts and water and drinks, because the only drinks you can't take any food in, and the only drinks you can take in are with the lids, with the tops. And then that's where you use the bathroom, because there's no bathrooms inside the building. There are, but that's for the overnight people. I think the overnight's like $75 or $100 a piece. We didn't do that. So then, and on the screen, they have all the TV shows that have visited Waverly Hills. They had Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, and there's that Linda Blair show. I can't think of what the name of it was. It had Linda Blair and the girl, I think she was the psychic from Poltergeist. She did the voiceovers, and she was in Picket Fences too. So she did the voiceovers for that show, and they did all that. Get you nice and scared. And then our tour guide came in. She was very lovely, and she said we could take pictures inside as long as we didn't use flash, because honestly we had to turn our phones all the way, the brightness all the way down, and no flash, because honestly sometimes even the building's so dark that even with the flash up or with the flash down and you looked at your phone, it was a little bright. So that's a good thing. So that's as we're ready. We went in the laundry room, up the steps, and we all thought it was the body chute. It was not the body chute. So we went up the steps. It was really dark. One other thing is we did the night tour. In the night tour, there are no lights. She has a flashlight. It's very powerful. You can take flashlights, but you can't use them very often, because when you turn them off, it hurts your eyes. So we did use them a few times going up steps and everything, because we were kind of in the back of the group, so we could actually see where we were going. And she would kind of walk off, and you'd have to walk in like dark corners and kind of feel around until you can find her and her flashlight. So the first place we went was like the back area where they used to take the patients who didn't make it out. She said at the peak there were 24 patients that died every day of TB, which is terrible and sad. And we didn't forget about, you know, why we were there the whole time we were there. It was an adventure, but I mean, ghosts were people that died, like their life, you know, ended. So you never want to forget that while you're there. And they tell you before you go in, no Ouija boards, and no not triggering, what am I saying, intimidate, no what do you call it, you couldn't with the spirits, you couldn't antagonize them. That's what it was. You couldn't antagonize the spirits. You couldn't get them riled up. But they wanted you to be respectful, because that's where they died. That's where they met their end, and they wanted you to be respectful of that. So, okay, so we walked into the first area, and the first place we went that I remember is there was this room, and you didn't just get TB in your lungs. I thought you did, but you didn't. There, you could get TB in any part of your body, and this person, or they had a place for TB in your brain, and they had an electric shock room, and the tour guide's flashlight was going on and off. Oh no, that was later. We'll do that later. The first place we went, how could I forget, was the actual body chute, and the body chute started as where they would bring in food and everything. But then, like I said, there were so many people dying that they didn't want the people in the hospital, they wanted them to stay positive. They didn't want them to know how many people were dying. So they made the food chute into a body chute. And it's a 45-degree angle, more than 600 feet down. If you saw, and I'll link the video where I had the pictures, you can't even see the bottom. It's so far down. And they said they used to walk people down there, but they don't anymore because it takes so long to get down there and get back up. But it's huge. And oh my gosh, just the thought of that. And they would park the hearses at the bottom so they could get the bodies and take them to the funeral homes. So sad, but they did that so the people upstairs who were trying to get better could get better without having to see all the bodies, and they want them to stay positive. So then we went to from that, we went to the electric shock room. That's what they did to try to cure the people that had TB in their brains. And we were on a tour with this one young lady who couldn't see, and she had somebody guiding her. And the tour guide's flashlight was going on and off. Of course, she couldn't see it. And the tour guide said something, and the lady who was blind, she said, "Can't you feel it? Can't you feel it?" And I think everybody's hair stood up on their arms, because that was, I mean, we all felt it. It was like this electricity that kind of came through. It was really strange. So then we walked around through the first floor, and the first floor is where they have their haunted house on Halloween. What they're doing is they're making up money to turn the sanatorium, the hospital, into a hotel and convention center, and they're wanting to leave like the original architecture and everything. So that'll be fun. I'll definitely be staying there whenever it gets fixed. It'll be kind of sad that it won't have, you know, like the original. It won't be an abandoned building anymore, but it'll be awesome that it has a new life. So anyway, we were walking through there, and our tour guide showed us through this room, and she told us to turn around, and we turned around, and she turned on her flashlight, and of course it was the morgue. Of course it was. There was an elevator. I was in the back of the morgue, next to where they would put the blood when they were doing autopsies, or I guess that's what they were doing. And I don't think they embalmed them there. They probably didn't. But on this side was the elevator, and then in front of us was the refrigerator where they kept the bodies. There was only 3 places to put the bodies, and there was 24 people that died a day. So can you imagine the kind of chaos that was in there? And the elevator right outside the doors went, the OR was on the 4th floor, and the elevator went straight from there down to the morgue, so the people couldn't see if somebody didn't make it through their surgery what happened. And there was 2 things they did for surgery, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But after the morgue, we went up to the 2nd floor, and I'm trying to remember what was on. The 2nd floor was the atrium, and it was a really big room, and Waverly Hills got shut down when they found a pill that would help TB, and they didn't need the hospital anymore, and it got turned into a nursing home, and the nursing home was shut down by the state because they weren't too wonderful to their patients. So they took us on the atrium. She turned off the lights. She had some stories to tell us about what happened out there. Then we went out on the hallway. Remember I told you where it looked like it was windows that was out, and it was actually a hallway? We went to the hallway. She told us about 2 patients who were sisters that were there. One sister died, one sister didn't, and they have EVPs where the spirit of the woman that died is asking about her sister, and they don't know if she thinks that she died. So we walked through the rooms, and we got in the hallway, and we had to walk through the hall without lights on. Now, by that time, it was still kind of light outside, so you could kind of see where you were going. Then we walked up the stairs to the 3rd floor, and the 3rd floor is the touchy-feely floor, because the spirit's on the 3rd floor, and I don't know if you believe in any of this. It's fine if you don't. It's fine if you do. If you just think it's just part of your imagination, that's fine. If you think ghosts exist, that's fine. If you think ghosts are demons, that's fine too. It's fine. I'm just telling you what happened to me. And when you go to Waverly Hills, you may have something totally different. Out of the 4 of us that went, me, my daughter, and my older sister saw something, and my sister Karen didn't see anything. So, you know, it is what it is, you know. So I just really like the history of it, and the architecture, and just the stories of it. And it's just kind of cool to walk through, you know, one of the supposedly most haunted places in the world for $25. That's pretty cool. So on the 3rd floor we didn't get to walk through it very much. It was really dark, and my daughter got a scratch, and we're not real sure how she got that scratch, but they said that's the touchy-feely floor. That's the floor that that people get hit, kicked, punched. She had 2 friends that were on the 3rd floor, and something happened. I don't remember what she said it was, and they refused to come back to the sanatorium because of it. If you've watched any of the ghost hunters thing, or if you've watched the BuzzFeed video where they went to Waverly Hills, the 3rd floor is where Timmy is, and Timmy is the little boy that plays with the ball. So if you ever go there, that's Timmy's floor. We did not play with the ball with Timmy. We were all kind of ready to get out of that floor because it's not as bright as the other floors. And like I said, no flashlight. So then we went up to the 5th floor. If you're wondering why we skipped the 4th floor, so did we. I'll tell you why in a minute. So we went up to the 5th floor, and the 5th floor has one of the most famous rooms. It's room 502. And 502 is where they get a lot of activity. 502 was not an actual hospital room. 502 is actually a bathroom. There's 502 the bathroom, and then there's like another room between them, and then there's another bathroom at the end. And up at the top, it's like a playroom and another playroom. Or it was just like a glass room where they could put the patients if it was really cold. Or it's another playroom for the kids to play with. And there used to be a swing upstairs because, of course, kids had got TB too. So there was a swing set upstairs, and I don't think it was there because I didn't see it. And if you walked all the way through the atrium, well, not the atrium, if you went all the way through the windowed room and you looked up, you could get the really good view of the gargoyles on top of the roof. Now, the story of room 502 is that there was a nurse who was pregnant, and they thought she had TB, and she got pregnant by a married doctor who worked at the sanatorium. And a maintenance man, we were standing in the hall, and she was telling us the story. She said, most people, when you hear this story, she died in the bathroom in 502. She didn't. She, in fact, and the tour guide walked toward me, shone the light up. I scooted over. It's like she actually died here. Wonderful. They found, a maintenance man had opened the elevator, and he had found her hanging from a pipe right in front of the elevator where I was standing. Woo. Bless her heart. They found the baby in the 5th floor well system. So the theory is they think she either had a botched abortion or she had a miscarriage and felt so bad about it that she hung herself, or that the doctor gave her a botched abortion, killed her, and made it look like a suicide. We don't know. Not saying anything like that. Well, it did happen. They did actually find a nurse there dead, hung there. It's just kind of the circumstances of how it happened. Nobody really knows. So we had a few minutes, so the tour guide let us walk around the 5th floor, which was really awesome. I got too scared to go in 502 myself, and I regret it so much. I wish I'd went in there, but I chickened out. But I did go into the room next to 502 myself. And I kind of walked in there for a second and turned around. We couldn't use flashlights, which is terrible. So then our tour guide was like, okay, I want you to turn your phones off, and I want you to put them in your pocket facing your body. I'm like, okay, they're like, we don't want any light. Which, when you're in an abandoned hospital, which is one of the 5 most haunted places in the world, it's exactly what you want to hear. So she said, we're going to the 4th floor. And the 4th floor is my favorite floor because that's where you see the shadow people. Well, boy, howdy, here we go. So we went down the stairs to the 4th floor. And she told us this story about, I'm not going to tell you all the stories she told us because you need to go to Waverly Hills, and I don't want to take any money away from them. And they're like, well, I don't have to go to Waverly Hills because Kaylee told us all about it. No, you need to go. You need to support them. They have shirts on their website. You need to get them too. They're lovely. It's a wonderful place. Okay. So, not sponsoring this video. So, okay, you go to the 4th floor. She tells you this story about something that happened on the 4th floor. So, and she's like, we're going to split up into 2 groups. One's going one way, one's going the other way. There's no flashlights on the 4th floor. Okay, so I went with her group, the back of the line with the other group. And we had to stand in the hall. Now, it was about 10:30-ish by that time, so the only light coming through was from the moon. Awesome. So, we had to stand here, and she was like, look down there at the light. And you could kind of see where the door was. And you could like see these things go zoom, 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 like back and forth. And they were darker than dark. And I forgot to tell you earlier, but when we were at the body shoot, well, before we went to the body shoot, we were at the back door of where they used to take the people out. There's a very large cross in front of it, or on top of it. And they were like, this is where they used to take them out until they got so many people dying that they took them down the body shoot. Okay. So our tour guide was talking, and she turned off her flashlight. And the people on this side, I was standing like right here, and the people on this side had their phones out. And from the light of their phone, I saw this shadow, which was darker than the darkest thing I ever saw, go right across of it. And then we had to walk by there. That was awesome. So I jumped. I totally get why people on the ghost shows, why they jump when they see things. Because it might not be a ghost. But when you see something that's darker than dark, that moves really fast, that's terrifying. Okay, so I'd already seen something. I'd already felt something. And now we were on the 4th floor where everybody except my sister sees something. So we like saw these things going zzz, zzz, zzz. And then there's the creeper on the 4th floor, which is amazing. And the creeper is a thing that walks on all 4 legs, and they've seen it on the ceiling, and they've seen it scattered around. I did not see the creeper. I was not sad about it. But then they sent 2 people down the hall. One at a time, they had to hold their arms out, and you can kind of see the things around them. Okay, so after we saw all these things, whatever you think they might be, at the very end of the hall, guess what we had to do? We had to walk to the very end of the hall where we saw all the things happen. So the tour guide was like, okay, just keep your eyes blinking, and as long as there's like don't make them dry, don't try to strain, you know, you'll see things out of the corner of your eye or whatever. So I was like, me and my daughter were getting real close at the moment, and we were kind of holding. I was holding her hand, and we were protecting each other basically, and we were walking, and I looked in one of the rooms, and I saw this black blob. Like I said, it was dark, and it was darker than dark, and all at once it went and went back behind the door. Well, I jumped, nearly screamed, scared my daughter to death, which I felt really bad about, and we ended up in the OR. Okay, now the OR was on the 4th floor because back in those days there was no air conditioning and it was hot, and they put people to sleep with this stuff that if you smelled it, like in like 2 seconds you'd be out. So there was so there was a lot of windows in this room too. And right when you walk in, like it's a strange feeling room, guys. It is the strangest feeling room. And my ribs started hurting, and I didn't know anything about it. I just thought, okay, sometimes I hurt right here, so it might not even been a thing. It might have just been something. I don't know. I did watch Ghost Adventures, and Nick afterwards, and I'm before, don't think that, afterwards, and Nick's rib hurt the exact same place mine did, which I was like, ooh. Anyway, so we were standing in the OR, and she said there were 2 OR rooms. They were being connected, I guess a curtain or something. They had 2 lights, and there were 2 treatments if you had to go surgery for TB. One, they would deflate your lung and give your lung a chance to rest. And then they would fill it. They would pop it and fill it back up and let you breathe. It was very painful. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. The big thing they did was the very last resort was they would go in, they would pull all the stuff over, and they would remove between 6 to 8 ribs. And that was supposed to help your lungs. Now, there was a tour guide there. He's dead now, but he used to give tours, and he had been a patient at Waverly Hills, and he had had his ribs removed and had lived a long life. Like, he was an older man when he died. So it did work. Sometimes it didn't, which was why there's an elevator right there to go right down to the morgue. It was really sad. And when she was talking about the ribs, I was like, oh no, my ribs are hurt. That was a very sad room. They said a lot of people got in there and was like sad, and they felt like just really, really deep sadness in that room. And I can see why. It was a strange feeling. So then we had to walk back through part of the 4th floor where we had seen things. We went down the stairs, and we went to the cafeteria. And they're kind of renovating that to start with. And we got to sit and ask questions. And we had a really pretty view of the gargoyles on top while we sat there, or we stood there and asked questions. They said that they lose a lot of construction workers because, like I said, they're renovating it. So there's a lot of construction going on. And they lose a lot of construction workers there. And I asked, because they have a Halloween haunted house on the 1st floor. And I asked if that stirred up anything, you know, during those months. And they said no, it was always active. And it didn't really matter what was going on, that it was always active. It was what I was kind of worried about when I went, because it's like I said, it's an abandoned hospital. I was kind of afraid that it would, there would be a lot of clutter, a lot of dust, a lot of mold. But it was really clean. They said it took like 4 years to clean it all out, because they just left it like it was. So they had cleaned it all out. We didn't trip over anything. Everything was really safe, except maybe the stairs, and that could have used some more lights. But other than that, I cannot wait to go back. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope I'm brave enough to go in room 502 the next time. I did see things. I can't tell you what I saw, because I don't know. I don't know if it was the ghosts of the people that died there. I don't know if it's just some negative thing that came in because they like abandoned places. I don't know if it was, I don't think it was a trick of the eye, because we all would see like the same thing, So, yeah, that happened. This is a really long video, and I'm kind of sorry about that. We left at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, and we drove straight home, 3 hours back home. It was really fun, and we were all really tired. That was a long walk, because Waverly Hills Sanatorium is huge. If you've ever seen pictures of it, I can't remember how big she said it was, but it's massive. And we had to be out by 10 or 11, because the overnight people were coming in. They get to be in by 11:30, I think. So, and if you do the overnight thing, you can walk around wherever you want to in the hospital and do any kind of EVP work. They, like I said, no Ouija boards, no taunting. That's the word I was trying to find earlier. Taunting. There's no taunting. There's no Ouija boards, and there's no bloopers in this video. I did it. I think I can just add the title card and upload it. Woo! I'm excited. Okay, we're planning 2 more trips to some haunted places. I won't tell you what they are now. I hope they make it through and we get to go. I'll take y'all along with us if we do. I'm excited to go. Have you ever been to Waverly Hills? Have you ever heard of Waverly Hills? Some people hadn't heard of it. Tell me your Waverly Hills story in the comments, and tell me if you would like to go to Waverly Hills. It's, like I said, it's really interesting. Have you ever seen like the Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures or the Linda Blair TV show that I don't know about? I don't know the name of it, and I remember I used to watch it though. Or the BuzzFeed video or anything like that. Are you somebody that just doesn't care about stuff like that? If you've lasted this long and you don't care about Waverly Hills, then I imagine you care about me, and I thank you so much for sticking through 30 minutes of my what happened at Waverly Hills. Be sure, this is just my story of it, be sure to actually go to Waverly Hills. It's amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And people look at me so funny when I say that. It's not that I want people... I'm very sad that people died in the hospital. I truly, truly am. But at the time, it was like the most advanced hospital for TB in like the United States. Like they were really, really trying to help these people. And I don't know. My grandmother had TB. I didn't know her. She died before I was born. She was 48, I think. So it's kind of an interesting personal thing for me. And so I was I was very interested in like the stories and how the people were treated. And now my grandmother, I don't think had any of the surgeries like that. But how people were treated. She wasn't at Waverly Hills. She was at Nashville. And, the stories that they had, and just the people and the history and the building was just so pretty. And the ghosts were like, an extra bonus, I suppose. And then there was the body shoot. Okay, that's this video. It is 30 minutes long. I really hope they let me upload it. Okay. That's it from Waverly Hills. If you have any questions, or if you want to ask anything, if you want to have any more of a discussion about Waverly Hills, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and do all the things. Okay. I've enjoyed talking to you about Waverly Hills. It was an amazing adventure, a lot of history, a lot of sadness, a lot of just adventure, I will say. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.